Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to all everywhere. So, I was having a candid conversation with my girls and even some of my guy friends. And so, we were having this conversation really about relationships. So, I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna talk about it. So, um, anyway, y'all know I don't do edits, and this is my second recording, and that is rare. So, nevertheless, this candid conversation really had to do with the way we date and the way we date. Okay, the way we date and the way that we make choices to diss somebody, or take advantage of people. I don't really know. So I'm just going to tell you about what the conversation was about and just go from there. Go ahead and leave your comments if you want to have some heartburn, indigestion. We're all entitled to our own opinions. But the scope of the women that I was talking to in this candid conversation was from about 30 to 57. And the scope of the men would be 27 till I want to say, I think he's 46. Anyway, so nevertheless, I'm sorry, 56. All right. So nevertheless, the gist of it was just really listening to the youngsters, the younger adults and the older adults, and a lot of us were talking how we intertwine dating, because a lot of us date between ages, and so that meaning that stretch from anywhere from 27 till about 62. A lot of us are dating 10 20 years older, 10 20 years younger. And so we really had lots of conversations about what that looked like. Does age really matter? Did it matter more to the family members or to the individual? What were the goals that people were trying to reach? And so I'm going to get into the gist of what that conversation was about at a later time, because that conversation was really, 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 really juicy. It's the kind of conversation that I'm probably going to have to really look at my notes and probably cross-reference to some psychoanalyzation. Really, so it was really, really good. And nevertheless, what I want to talk today is just about how our dating spectrum has just like really grew. Our circle has grown. We have a bigger pool of people because for the most of us, I think the 30-year-old was remembering when you dated pretty much locally, unless you met somebody who came over from a different country. Sometimes you might meet somebody online on a dating site, or you could see somebody on social media and probably spark up conversation and, start engaging in that conversation to expand your pool. Or like some of us, we studied abroad and, we got an opportunity to meet and date people that were abroad, and you made a decision that when you came back to the States or when you went back to your country, if you were still going to see that person. Okay, so we talked about all different types of things: high school love, college love, long distance love, incarceration love. We talked about it all. And what the bottom line was for us all was, remember when we were children, when we were just falling in love, when we were, and this ranged from everybody from anywhere from 12, when you really didn't know what love was, but who am I to say that you didn't, till about 17 years old. Your first love was a little bit more pure, a little bit more honest. You did not, you just kind of went for it, unless you had someone drilling in your head about what love shouldn't be, or really, really kind of cultivating what relationships and dating would look like. If you didn't have that, then you really just, I think they left one of my doors open. If you didn't have that, then you really just went for it. As a girl, some boy would be interested in you and you like him, and he send you a note and ask you if you want to go out, or send you his phone number, or maybe hit you up after school or whatever, and was like, like, I really like you. I was wondering if we could talk. And you usually said yeah if you wasn't dating nobody else, or even if you was, there were some people that was like, oh, okay, because they would drop you for somebody else, right? Because that was the innocence of our very first experiences. And as we started to grow and mature, we learned that we didn't just drop one person for another, and we didn't date our friends' boyfriends, because when we were little, the one boy that we thought was cute went through everybody, right? But it was more innocent and more pure. There's nothing wrong with still having the demeanor of that innocence and that pureness, but you're older, you're wiser, you've learned some ground rules: what's going to hurt your friends, what's not going to hurt your friends, what's going to be respectful of yourself, what's going to have integrity and standards and morals. You've learned a lot. You've grown a lot. But what we were all in agreement with is the innocence of relationships, and the opportunity of love was there. And our heartbreaks were our heartbreaks. We were all in agreement that a guy's heartbreak is harder than a woman's heartbreak. Even though we're more emotional about it, it does take a guy a longer time to get over really falling in love and being hurt. And it could affect him for his relationship life. But what we did also agree with, back in the day, men could move over and rebound faster than girls. It was the thing, and as the generations changed, women decided they wanted it too. That being said, women start becoming more masculine, saying, if he can do it, I can do it too. So women decided that they were no longer hoes. It wasn't that you were a hoe if you were sleeping with multiple people to get over your last. Now, I'm not saying I'm necessarily in agreement with that, but women took on this new state. This new state of mind went from all generations. I watched it from not quite my mother's generation, but my siblings and I are 10 years and older apart, and I watched them, my generation, and the generation below me, which was another 10 years with my nieces, and I watched it unfold. Friends, family, I wanted no part of it, but I watched it, and it was quite interesting. I grew up in a Christian home, and so I grew up with women being submissive, and I can't say that I really liked all of that, but I respected it. I can say as time went on, I embraced that there were a lot of changes, and I understood why God did put man over women. I know women are losing it. I understood it at that point. And I'm not disregarding. Yes, I am. So it's not that I'm trying to disregard the LGBTQ community, but my stance as a Christian is I'm not going to judge you on what you're doing, but I am going to stay on the biblical basis of Adam and Eve. And so if you've gotten your feathers ruffled, that is not my intent. It's just I really want to stay focused on the relationship between men and women when I say that. And if you have a masculine and a feminine, then you would be able to, you have a feminine divinity and a masculine divinity. If you're in that space, you would be able to understand it as well. And so it is my belief that the masculine should be hold the leadership, the headship, if I would say, of the relationship. The masculine has more responsibilities. It is the man's duty, according to the Bible, to provide and protect. It is a woman's duty to, and I know, duty, as long as we're saying men's duty, we're good with it. When we say a woman's duty, women lose their minds in this generation. I got it. But at the end of the day, there are perspective roles that I believe in. I believe in gender roles, and I totally believe in relationships working together. If my headship says, example, nope. If my headship says, baby, I really don't want you to work, but we could really use the extra money to buy a house. Okay. I'm probably going to push back a little bit by saying, in the event that something happens to you, I want to make sure that I'm well taken care of by me. I don't want to go to the next Tom, Dick, or Harry to provide for me. I want to make sure that whatever you did was good for me and I could handle it and handle our business, our legacy, whatever it is. If I move on with my life, then I move on. But I don't want to have to depend on, oh, let me find somebody, when this is something that we've done together, or that you got it, that you built this so that you have something to take care of your wife in the event that something happens. But if my spouse said, hey, Tanetta, you have this master's degree, and I know that you have a business, and do you want to, I'm going to support you at whatever you do. Okay. So, and I'm going to appreciate that. I'm not going to look at myself as the breadwinner, even if I made more money than him. I'm just not. I'm going to totally respect the headship of my spouse. Now, I did say spouse, big difference than dating. So let me get off of that, because I was just, go back to the conversations that we were having. And so when it comes to this dating thing, a long time ago we dated as kids, innocently enough to learn. Some of us were lucky enough to find that one in high school, still together with them to this day. I got a best friend that has been with her guy since right after high school. They are still together. I want to say it's 21, 24 years. I don't even remember. But it's been a long time, and I'm so very, maybe it's 27. Because my son is, it's like 27. I'm so just impressed by their love. And I remember having a conversation with her, and she said, we work on this every single day. Like, it's a choice to love one another. It's a choice to be loved by one another. It's a choice to make this marriage work. And they do little things on the daily basis. They're separated often. They make efforts to call each other every day, to text each other sweet nothings, to send flowers, to do something really nice and special for one another, to have date night. It's important. So, that being said, when we dated on a serious note after the youthfulness, I still want to keep that innocent pureness of, I was talking with them saying, I still want to keep that innocent, that pureness of finding somebody, talking to that person, and getting to know them better. When it comes to seriousness, like, man, I really like this person, I want to move it up. Back in the day, I think they called it courting, to court each other, or courting. I like the idea about what that meant, and it just sounds so old. The sun is shifting, but I like the idea of the fact that what it meant was, I am looking at you in a different way. I am looking at you in a way that says, I think that you might be the person I want to marry. Men have that choice, that to choose who they want to marry. My throat is, I've been screaming earlier today. I'm trying to get over it. But women have the choice to accept it and to even be pursued by other people who want to ask those questions. So I feel like I'm going into the dark hole. I told my niece that I wasn't gonna put the ring on, but I feel like it needs to be on. So anyway, our bottom line was, we were all discussing how people don't date for those reasons of, I'm looking for the right person. They date to say, I'm going to date any and everybody, and in the event of my dating, I find that person, yippee! And I think that has a lot to do with the dissolving of marriages. People are getting married for all the wrong reasons. I was looking at this guy, he's one of my friends on TikTok, and he said marriage was designed to kind of financially help each other. Like, what do you bring to the table? What he brought to the table. And I was almost in agreement with that. That might be for his generation of what it was. But it was a long, long, long time ago to what a man could bring to the table, to the family of this, I lost my but people would choose based on, oh, this man's family has this crop, and they have this land, they have a plantation, they have this store, they have this, so they can provide for our daughter. And if they had boys, then they were really trying to make sure that their boys had a healthy inheritance, so something that they could bring to the table for the wife that they were going to choose. Women were more dependent upon their spouses. In the royalty line, they were like, what do you have to offer? What do our families have to offer? There are some different ethnicities that still do that practice today. Excuse me. Cultures, yeah. There's still some cultures that practice that today. Like, what do you bring to the table? What does her family bring to the table? And I understood what he said. He also said, look, I'm not going to ever get married because I'm not mature enough to be married. And I so appreciated him saying that, him realizing, I'm going to cause toxicity in a relationship because I'm not ready. And she's going to cause it in me because he basically was like, she's going to be demanding things from him that he's not ready to give. And he's not ready to give because he realized that he is emotionally immature. And so I think there's people that should just say, I am not ready, or I'm at this level. And if somebody says they're at that level, then that's the person you should be dating. I mean, we were having this conversation that was like, why date? Why date? Why date somebody emotionally available if you know that you're not? Why date the good girl if you know that you're the bad boy? You don't want to date the bad girl, but you want to emotionally break this girl down for her to become everything that you don't want. And vice versa, ladies. I mean, we talked about so much. You know what? I can't even cover all this, and my video is getting long, and that's what I did not want it to be. So I'm just going to get off. I think I am going to post both of them because, yep, because I've already lost half of you. So, yeah, this topic is so big. I don't even think that I can handle this by myself, trying to remember everything. I had an outline in my head of what I wanted to say, but the bottom line of the conversation, I think we ended with, why can't people just be as genuine as we were when we were children? How come we just can't be honest? Yes, there are a lot of games out there, but it has to start with someone. So for me, I'm a very honest, straightforward, direct kind of person. If I want a relationship with you, I'm going to say I really find an interest in you. If I don't, I'm going to probably tell you I'm not ready. There might be things about you that I'm looking for that you don't have. And I'm trying to see, is it me, or am I missing something? Or is it me that has to grow into whatever? But I've been heartbroken so many times. There's no reason for me to want to love again. The biggest heartbreak I've ever had was the love of my life died. And it did a lot to me. We were innocent when we met, and the relationship was pure. There were no games. There were other women that he was talking to before he met me. I think at the time I had no pursuers. So we were just very real and genuine. But that devastation of losing him really made me guarded just in general, but it made me love deeper because it made me appreciate life. He was young. It made me appreciate that we only have so many breaths. And so it's made me recognize that, don't get me wrong, I might, I know my family's like, that girl. When I date, I date. I'm not a promiscuous dater, so I am very respectful of who I am. I know who I want to be intimate with and who I don't, or if I want to be intimate. And the likelihood of me being intimate with anybody, if I'm multiply dating, is rare. Especially because I am a Christian and I'm trying to walk the walk. So I'm excited to be able to give my husband the gift that he desires, and that is knowing that she's somewhere waiting for me. So but I'm very authentic about when I am not emotionally available. I'm like, no, I'm not ready for a relationship. I'm still growing. I'm still healing. So I think if we all were that way, women, you gotta stop getting excited and wanting to change a man. If he tells you, I don't want to marry, I know, I've been there. I don't want to be in a committed relationship. Believe him. If he falls in love with you and he still tells you that, believe him. And you shouldn't compromise who you are. Vice versa, men. If you see that she's not settling down, your love is not going to change them. Yeah, there are stories that people do it, but it's rare. They gotta want it. And if they don't want it, like genuinely want it, you're fighting like a losing battle. You're just causing toxicity into the relationship. So if you found someone and you just were dating and you want to switch it to something genuine, be honest about it. Hey, I'm ready for this. I really like you more than I thought. And if they tell you no, believe them. If they tell you they're scared, be gentle with them. Because if any of that is violated, you could turn into something you don't want to be. You could be their worst nightmare. And they could be yours. So I can't express that enough. And sisters, if he shakes you, let him go. Like, walk away. You don't really know what's going on in his life. Walk away. Maybe he's trying to get over somebody. Maybe you just happen to fall into his lap at the wrong time. Let him go and figure this out. Just leave him alone. You know, because I'm a very, very passionate, loving, like, you're on my mind, I'm going to share it. Like, oh, you know, if I heard a song, I'm going to be like, oh, boo, I'm thinking about you. Well, everybody doesn't like that. You know, some guy might be like, oh my gosh, this girl. And then there are some guys that absolutely love it and adore, like, man, she's thinking about me all the time. And vice versa. There are guys that at the thought of, you know, they're thinking about you, they'll send you stuff, they'll send you music, they'll whatever. If that's your thing, embrace it. If not, don't. But at the end of the day, people have to be ready for it. People have to be ready for me, that if that's the route that I'm ready for. And I have to be ready for them if that's the route that they're ready for. If somebody bombards me with information and songs, I might feel overwhelmed, because if I'm here and they're there, we're not on the same standing. It can be a little overwhelming, and they're probably thinking, if she could just see what I see, or she's thinking, if he could just embrace the love that I have for him, and he would see. People, men and women, you're worth more than that. You are worth the best. And the best is not that you date 7 or 8 different people and say, which one is the best one? The best is the one that you pray for and you click and you say, this is the person that if I was blindfolded, I could walk through hell and know that they would get me through it. Or this is the person, this is the person that I can see working a lifetime. If they don't get it, I'm going to stand by their side to get them there. If they get it and I don't, I'm going to hang on for them to teach me. That's what we should be looking for. So if you haven't found it in them, don't hang on to somebody to say, well, they're really great and I would choose them, but I think there's something better. If you have to go there and put them as your last resort, your plan Z, they ain't in your plan. Either they're going to be miserable or you're going to be miserable. So I wish you all the best. This was just part of a conversation with some of my friends. Some of my female friends, some of my male friends. I am in the dating zone right now. And let me just be honest. I am in the dating zone. And I have found that recently that I am now feeling I'm ready for something solid. And if it ain't reciprocal, okay, so I can't even find that word, reciprocated, today. Y'all know I'm not editing, right? Okay. If I don't feel it back, I will be taking my own advice. Pull back. If I ain't giving it, pull back. Let it happen naturally. Just let it happen naturally. Now, as a woman, I'm a woman, so I will pull back 100% and not hold him up. I won't hold a guy up to do what he does. And if he says, well, I was waiting for you, I'm not mad at you. But if he says, every now and then sends me a message, hey, how's it going? I'm probably a little smitten by the subtleness of while I'm trying to get me together. So, and I'm in a really good space in most ways. There are still some things that I am totally upside down, but I ain't waiting to be perfect, because if I waited to be perfect, I would never find love. Y'all gotta excuse my raspy voice. I love you with all my heart, and I'm just gonna put both videos up and call it a day, and I'm gonna go cook dinner. So I got some family waiting on me to cook some dinner, so I'm gonna go be a blessing to my extended family in there and love on them with my hands. So dinner made from the heart. So all right, take care of you. Bye.